station, water in my cup. Stretch in the kitchen, arms lifting up. Microwave things, heating love up. Small wind stacking, feeling filled up. Let the baseline carry the weight off my chest.
Hello. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying 2026. I hope your 2026 is off to an excellent start. You're absolutely loving it, every second of it. And if not, I hope you're hanging in there for another beautiful day. Today is January 5th. It's Monday, and we're here. We're doing it. Today on Lunchtime Lift, we're going into 3 powerful stories that I thought were just awesome. I want to share them with you today. And then, of course, we will round it off by sharing our daily reflection from the book, The Daily Laws. So, let's kick it off with an amazing story about a woman who decided to cross something off her bucket list at the ripe, young, thriving, beautiful age of 80 years old. This woman absolutely inspired me, and I'm going to share this with you right now. Let me see here. Yeah, so 80-year-old retired teacher bests disease and injury to become the oldest female hiker to finish the Appalachian Trail. How amazing is that? I hope to be like this woman one day. The obstacles and excuses kept blocking Betty Kellenberger's path, but she never stopped moving forward. Kellenberger, an 80-year-old retired school teacher from Carson City, Michigan, became interested in the Appalachian Trail in elementary school when she learned about it in a weekly reader. Betty immediately thought she wanted to hike it someday. So if you don't know about the Appalachian Trail, it runs through 14 states. It goes all the way from Maine down to Georgia, and it's about 2,200 miles long, and it's basically a mountain the entire time. It's, hard climbs, rocks, rocky terrain. It's not easy, even for me, and I am not 80 years old. So finishing the entire thing is a daunting task for anybody, no matter how old you are. But she said, I remember thinking, how do you think you have to think about it? I'm pushing 80. Am I going to wait until I'm pushing 90? So yeah, it sort of pushed me into action. That's so cool. So often you see people make excuses or, just decide not to do things because of their age. And this woman took that and flipped it on its head. She said, if I don't do it now, when will I do it? When I'm 90? When I'm 100? And she did it. She hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. Hurricane Helene had toppled trees, obstructing paths all over the South, making the Appalachian Trail so impassable in parts that officials made hikers an extraordinary offer during the cleanup. Leave now, and you can count your existing mileage on day 1 next year. Typically, all through hikes have to be finished in 12 months to count as complete, so Betty had actually caught a break. Let's see here. Okay, but it said she battled illness, so I do want to find where it's what she was dealing with. Either way, this is absolutely amazing. It doesn't actually go into why she was ill or how she was ill and what she was dealing with. But imagine 80 years old hiking the entire Appalachian Trail. How beautiful, how amazing is that? I love this story. And the next one is also very, very cool, I think. So the next story is an Uber driver stayed by this kid's side when he was alone in the ER. I say kid, he was 25 years old or something like that. 7 years later, they're still friends. So this story is fascinating. Here's a picture of the two. So basically, this guy, Joey Romano, was skateboarding near the University of Texas, and he swerved on his skateboard to avoid a car, but he slammed into a ditch and broke his wrist. He said instead of calling an ambulance, because he didn't know if he had good insurance, which that is a whole other story. If you've been following my channel for some time now, or if you know about the work that I do, I've tried to shine a light on the injustices and the way that the American healthcare system is overpriced and egregiously so. It costs way more to get healthcare here in the States than it does anywhere else in the world. And we have the insurance companies to thank for that. We have pharmaceutical companies to thank for that, and the medical industry at large to thank for that. It is a serious problem. I'm not saying I have all the solutions or answers. I'm just saying it's something that needs to be looked at and figured out. I think we can all agree it is absolutely insane when our ambulance rides cost, like, just to get the ambulance to come out costs over $1,000. I don't know if you know that or not. And then, depending on if your insurance covers it or not, you may be out of pocket thousands and thousands of dollars just to go to the hospital. And that doesn't even count when they start charging you for every little thing and charging exorbitant fees. But this is a good news show, so let me get back to the good news here. So he said he didn't have very good insurance. He was worried about the cost, so he called an Uber. But when the driver arrived, Romano was still laying on the ground, so the driver helped him into the car. He helped him recline the passenger seat. And brought him to urgent care. But when he realized that this guy, this 25-year-old kid, didn't have any family nearby to come help him, the driver, says his name is Lukumu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, decided to stay with him and said, I'm going to stay here with you because you have no family. But it says with a busy day of rides ahead of him. So he could have been making money. He could have been out there, worried about himself, being selfish, worried about, his dollar. And nobody would blame him for doing that. Most Uber drivers would do that. I mean, at the end of the day, we all have to find a way to, to make money and to provide for our families, and so on and so forth. But this guy said, you know what? I'm going to stay here with this young man and make sure he's okay because he doesn't have any family here with him. And I want to make sure he feels supported and healthy, right? And that's, to me, that is just like amazing. That hit me right here in the heart. I was like, ooh, like this person just gave up his whole day to support another fellow human being. How beautiful is that? So he sat with him from 2 to 8 p.m. It says the hours he missed at work didn't even register. His new friend mattered far more. And like you can't write this stuff. This is just absolutely amazing. And they became close friends after that. They've been friends ever since. So 2 really simple, just amazing stories that show the power and the will of human beings, and also that show that we can show up for each other. We can support each other in these hard situations and be there for each other in ways that most people underestimate. And it's very easy to be caught up in our own world and think that, everybody else outside of our immediate circle is bad or is, maybe not there to help you. And it's easy to think that there's a lot of bad people out there, and maybe there are, but there's also a lot of really good people. And I think this is just a great reminder of, kindness and generosity, that we can remind ourselves there's good people out there too that want to see you get better, that want to see you succeed, that want to see you be happy and healthy and have someone with you when you're in a very unfortunate situation and you're in the hospital, that will stay with you regardless. And I like to think that's something that I would do if I was an Uber driver and somebody was injured and didn't have family there. I would want to stay and help that person out. I can't promise that I would, because you know what? We all have our own lives going on all around us all the time. There's also like all the other things that you could be committed to. Like if you have a family and they have to be picked up, or they have to go to, like if my kids have to go to some sport or something, I may not be able to sacrifice that time for a stranger. But the world right now is so divided. But what we need is love and kindness. And this level of kindness and generosity just is so beautiful and amazing. I thought I would share that story with you today to help you feel a little bit of that kindness and that love in the world, because it's there. It exists. And all we have to do is put our focus on it every now and then. That's exactly what this show was created for and what it's all about. I call this show Lunchtime Lift, simply because I go live at 12 noon every day and share something positive and empowering to lift you up for the rest of your day and the rest of your life. Hopefully, these stories are meant to touch and inspire us, and I just love doing this. So the next one is a little bit more about New Year's, and what we're going to talk about is trying not to quit, because the truth is there is the second Friday of every January is known as Quitter's Day. This is the day that most people stop their New Year's resolutions. See, by the end of January, something like 70% or something of people fall off of their New Year's resolutions. By the end of the first 2 weeks, a huge chunk of people stop doing their New Year's resolutions. So these are 5 science-backed tricks to help your New Year's resolution survive Quitter's Day so that you don't quit on the second Friday, which is, I think this year it's January 9th. Yep, so January 9th, the second Friday of the month, is known as Quitter's Day. And, if you're a human being, you've been there. You know what this is like. I've personally been there. I make these awesome New Year's resolutions. I think my whole life was going to change if I just do these things every single day. And then boom, something comes up, or, it just gets really hard, or whatever happens, and we fall off. That's why I spent so much time this year creating videos to try to help people create resolutions that they can stick to, and create a plan for what to do when you fall off your New Year's resolution. Being honest and truthful with ourselves, knowing that we're probably not going to be absolutely perfect all of the time, so that we know it ahead of time. What will we do when it's really hard? What will we do when it's impossible to do the thing I say I'm going to do? And if you have that plan ahead of time, that's 90% of the battle right there. You're way better off than most people if you've done that. But if not, here's some other ways to get through this. Tip number 1 is to lower the standards and get specific. Now that sounds maybe like a cop-out, or to some people that's going to trigger them. That's going to sound like, what? Lower my standards? Like, why would I do that? Right? Why would I change what I want to change in my life? Why would I make it less than it needs to be? And the thing is, most people are choosing things that aren't actual behavior. Like if you say get in shape, or be healthier, or write more, that's not measurable. That's not an actual standard that you can stick to. Those are umbrella identities. They don't really mean much, and they're hard to stick to because there's nothing sticky. There's nothing there for us to hold on to. So instead, make the goal small and specific. So that way it can't even be argued. You can't justify it in your mind. You can't say, well, I am being healthier, but just not, but today I'm just going to, have that ice cream or pizza or whatever, right? I'm healthier, but I'm just not super healthy, right? And so if we can be super specific, like I'm going to eat one vegetable every single day, that is specific. That is something we can stick to. That is something we can hold on to and measure and hold ourselves to. And it's small enough that it's not insane to hit it, right? If you say, I'm going to eat a healthy meal every single meal, no matter what, that's really hard to do, right? Let's be completely honest. Things come up in our life. We're busy people. There's stuff going on. We don't always have the time, attention, money, energy to put towards eating healthy. Sometimes you need to just grab something and eat it. And sometimes that's not the healthiest thing. But if you have an easier to hit goal, like I'm going to eat a vegetable every day, more often than not, you'll eat healthier and healthier and healthier. And over time, it gets better and better. And you won't feel like you're failing if you don't have a vegetable for one meal, because that meal you're very busy and things are going on and, all this emergency came up or whatever. You'll just feel like, okay, well, I had my vegetable today, so I still did what I was supposed to do. And boom, you're still on the path. You never fell off. And that goes so far for our mentality for sticking with things. Tip number 2, attach the habit to a consistent cue, not your mood. So for example, for me, I'm starting the new habit of, it's not super new, but I'm going to do my workout. I like to do my workout, but I change when I'm going to do it. So I used to do it in the morning after I brought my son to school. Well, things have shifted around in my life where I don't actually bring him to school anymore. His mom brings him to school. So now I pick him up from school. So I changed my habit. I changed what the cue was. So before, the cue was after I dropped him off at school, I was driving past a park. I would stop at that park and do my workout. I would do pull-ups or dips, and I would run. I would do my workout in that park. Now it's just right before I'm going to get him, I go to the park. I do my pull-ups, my dips, my running. I do my exercising at that time instead. So it's not attached to my mood. It's not attached to what's going on in the world around me. It's literally attached to when I go get my son, I do my exercise. It's that simple. So right after this live stream, this live stream is actually another cue for me. After this live stream, I do my workout. It's that simple. So it's tied to a cue, not to my mood or my energy levels or anything. I'm just going to go do it as soon as this is over. Tip number 3, write 2 if-then plans for the messiest parts of your week. And this is really powerful. So if the 2 examples they give here, the time problem. If I don't have time for the full version, then I will do this other, modified version, this 2-minute version, this version that doesn't take that much time. If you can do that, that'll help you stick to your plan, right? I like to plan far in advance for when things are not going to be pretty, right? I say things like, okay, but what about when both kids have sports and we can't do the thing we said we're going to do, and because we're just too busy, we don't have time. What am I going to do on those days? And if I have a plan for that ahead of time, I'm way better off than trying to wing it or force it or make it work last minute. So that's one way. And also the mood problem. If I feel like I don't want to do it, what will I do, right? And it's often just a simpler, modified version of the same thing, but you're just going to do it when you don't feel good, right? So like, for example, if I don't feel like exercising, I'm still going to go to the park and I'm going to walk, right? That's like the least I could do. Is just go for a little walk. But on the days that I do feel good, I'll get all my full workout in. And that way, I'm never not working out. I'm just changing how much I work out. And I'm using workout as an example because I feel most of us can relate to that, and most of us understand the idea of trying to get exercise and working out in for the new year. But this goes for everything, whether it's eating healthy or working out or building relationships or creating a business or whatever the thing is that you want to do, it works for all of that. Tip number 4, track one tiny metric and recruit one person. A goal that lives only in your head is easy to renegotiate. 2 simple ways to resist that temptation are feedback and accountability. So self-monitoring shows up again and again as a core component of successful behavior change programs. Research demonstrates that more frequent tracking is consistently associated with better outcomes. So if you're tracking things closer, if you have an actual metric, it works much better. So pick a metric you can record in under 30 seconds. Did you do the habit today? Yes or no? How many minutes did you spend doing the habit? How many things did you do in that habit? For example, could be steps, pages, dollars saved, whatever it is. And then accountability is when you add in additional eyes, right? You do it with your friend, do it with your spouse, do it with a loved one, do it with your family member. And they don't have to do the same thing as you. You can hold them accountable for what they're trying to do, and they hold you accountable for what you're trying to do. Just doing that allows you to show up more consistently and do the things that we want to do, right? Tip number 5 for the big swing, prototype the change before you leap. So this is interesting. I've never heard this one. Let me see. Break it into 4 parts. A clear question. What are you testing? So this is about testing things before you fully change your entire life. Test it out. Give it a test drive. See if you like it. See how it fits. See if you can alter it to fit into your life. And that will help you stick with it even longer. So that's 5 ways that you can try to avoid the quitter's day that happens on the second Friday of January. People just fall off and stop doing what they wanted to do. So I just went over 5 ways to make it a little bit easier to plan for those times when it's difficult and to be prepared so that you can actually show up and do the things you wanted to do in the new year, right? And I hope your new year is going absolutely amazingly and you're off to an excellent start. I know I'm off to an excellent start, and I'm happy to be here with you for this live video. Now, it's time to end this show off with my favorite part, which is to read from the Daily Laws. This is 366 meditations on power, seduction, mastery, strategy, and human nature. There is 1 page per day. So there's a page dedicated to January 5th in this book. So I'm going to open it up to that page, and it's not even a full page. They're just like little paragraphs. Very easy to read, very quick. So let's see what today's passage is, and then we'll reflect on it. We'll think about how it fits in my life. You can think about how it fits in your life. Feel free to comment, type in the chat, share with me. I love to connect with you and to get, to get some interaction going on this live stream, because it just makes it more fun. Okay, January 5th. Know what you're drawn to and immerse yourself in it. The contemporary anthropologist linguist Daniel Everett grew up on the California-Mexico border in a cowboy town. From a very early age, he found himself drawn to the Mexican culture around him. Everything about it fascinated him. The sound of the words spoken by the migrant workers, the food, the manners that were so different from the Anglo world. He immersed himself as much as he could in their language and culture. This would transform into a lifelong interest in the other, the diversity of cultures on the planet, and what that means about our evolution. Daily Law. What's something you've always felt a pull toward? Dive deep into it today. Okay, that's a cool one. I like it. So, for me, what's something I always felt pulled toward? I think, I don't say this very often. I don't go too deep into this very often, but I think health is something that I feel very pulled toward. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the founder of LymeWars.com, where we help people get better from Lyme disease. I'm also saying that because of when I think about my life, at a young age, I think I was probably like 7 years old. My older brother went to the hospital and he had to get a heart surgery, and he got a pacemaker in his heart. And it was terrifying for me as a little brother. Like most little brothers, I looked up to my big brother. I love him. And I was very concerned. I was scared. I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if he would be okay. And it made me think about health differently. Even at that young age, I used to wonder, like, how does the human body even work? Like I know all these things are happening. Like, I'm breathing, my blood is pumping, my heart is beating, but I don't tell it to do any of that stuff. It just does it. And I always thought about that and wondered about it. And then fast forward into school and everything, I used to get 100% in my health classes. And maybe for you that sounds normal, but in my school, I was like the only one in the class that was getting 100% on every single test. Like, everything I did in health class, I just got straight A's. It was easy for me because I was interested in it. I found it fascinating, endlessly fascinating. And I was always pulled towards health and wellness and how the human body works. And then, fast forward to my adult life, and I was hit with, I thought of myself as a sort of healthy individual, but then one day I was hit with Lyme disease. I started fainting. My heart rate started dropping. It was a problem that I wasn't used to, or I didn't know about, or I didn't understand fully. So that gave me permission to dive deep, to learn something new, to go deep into a topic that I had no idea about, but that also linked directly to the human body. And so I started learning everything I could. I bought every book about Lyme disease. I used to stay up late reading every single book, highlighting it, earmarking it, underlining things, writing in the margins. In fact, you could see this book right here, Healing Lyme. See, I have these books still, like, all around me all the time. I could show you probably like 10. They're just like all right here in this vicinity. But look, you could see I I don't just read the book. I like write all over it. I tear it apart. I dissect it. I write my own opinions in here. I try to understand the author's opinions. I try to like really soak in this information, especially for Lyme disease, because it had such a deep effect on my life. And I'm glad that I do it, because now I've been able to help thousands of people fight back against Lyme disease. Hundreds of them have gotten better. I get emails every day from people telling me that they've taken back their body, that they feel good again, that they have their life back, they have joy back in their life, they're laughing again, they have energy, they can walk again. All of these crazy things. And if I didn't care about health, or I wasn't pulled toward health, and I didn't feel that gravity pulling me towards that specific subject, I probably would never know that I could help people in that way. And that is the true reward for the work that I do, is seeing someone get their life back, seeing someone go from bedridden to walking again, seeing someone have their family life become way better because they finally have energy again and their joints don't hurt. It's absolutely amazing. It feels so good every single time. Selfishly, I read those messages and I revel in it. And that is what it is, you know? And so that's me. That's what I've been pulled towards a lot. And that's not the only thing. I could have talked about, soccer, or snowboarding, or, all of my different like little hobbies that I like to do, but I really felt pulled towards health since a young age. And maybe I should have become a doctor, but I didn't. I'm not a doctor, and I didn't go to, a million years of school to become a doctor. Instead, I found myself on a different path in my life, and that's okay. But I did get certified as a holistic nutritionist as soon as I realized I really wanted to help people and work in health. I wish that maybe if this book, The Daily Laws, was in my life from a younger age, like around 18 or something, I would have reflected more. I would have thought about my life. I would have thought about what I should go into, and maybe I would have decided to become a doctor. I'm not sure. Can't say for sure. Maybe I still can. Maybe there's still time to do it. Who's to say, right? But all I'm saying is that is what I was pulled towards, and you've got to figure out what you're pulled towards. Not only for your own happiness, but in my opinion, for your well-being. Part of my healing journey with Lyme disease was actually finding hobbies and finding things that I felt joy from doing, finding things that I felt pulled towards and doing them. Whether that was like creating things like art or videos or pictures or, digital media stuff that I create. Doing all of that stuff fed my soul. And it's so often that people feel terrible and they feel sick, they feel ill, but and a part of it, not all of it, but a tiny part of it is what their life looks like. If they have no joy or hobbies or things in their life that help them feel that spark, that help them feel alive, feel like they're doing things that are interesting to them or fun or pulling them towards something, then there's really not that much to have energy for, right? You might sometimes feel like, I have no energy. It's like, what do you need energy for? Like, if you don't have something to spend your energy on, nowhere to invest your energy, because you're kind of just like, going through the motions, or you got that job that you hate, and then you kind of just like plop on the couch and watch Netflix until you start over and do it again the next day. That could be a big part of the problem right there. Finding the hobbies, finding the things that drive you to get better and drive you to create and find your passions in life. I think that has a big role in getting better and healing the body. And I've seen that true in my life, and I've actually heard very similar stories from a lot of my clients who do get better. They say, I finally started doing this thing again that I haven't done in years, whether it's like painting or like playing the cello or whatever it is for them. And it's different for everybody, but we've got to learn what pulls us. What are we drawn to? And that can make you, that can at least give you some joy, give you something to look forward to in your life. If we have nothing to look forward to, it's really hard to feel good every day. And if you don't feel good every day, it's really hard to have a good life. So anyway, I hope some of the messages I shared today inspired you or helped you in some way. And if they did, I hope you would tell me about it. Leave it in the comments or the chat. I love reading all the comments in the chat. It makes me feel good, and it allows me to feel that inspiration to keep going and keep showing up for the people that watch my videos and that share this time with me. And I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, this beautiful Monday, January 5th. Hang in there, keep going, and let's keep pushing through into 2026. It's going well for me, and I hope you're just as well. If you need anything, reach out. I'm here for you, and yeah, that's all I got. Thanks so much. My name is Ryan Kearns, and I'll see you tomorrow, 12 noon, every single day, 12 noon, I go live. Wednesdays, we do our Lyme Healing Circle, which is where I specifically focus on Lyme disease during the live stream. Again, 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, lunchtime. That's why this is called Lunchtime Lift. I'll see you next time.